But this is one of the games that narcissists like to play. This is a personal boundary issue, guys. This is how they make you feel small in a relationship, to actually invisible in a relationship. You have no say. You have no voice. You don't feel anything. As far as like the narcissist goes, you're just a drug that they can use. That's it. One might wonder why the narcissist and or personality has suddenly disappeared from the radar. Why he or she is not hoovering. What happened? One may become more obsessed with the narcissist while attempting to figure out how to restore a dysfunctional, toxic, and volatile relationship with him or her. Now, there are a few key words here. One key word is dysfunctional. Another is toxic. The third key word is volatile. Okay, now the person, they want to restore such a relationship. So when a person is reactionary due to the narcissist having new supply, and what makes it even crazier is that the new supply seems to be a downgrade. So they have done the one down method in order to drive you completely up the wall and breaking your heart at the same time. So while you may be, or another person, right, whoever this is referring to, they may be reactionary. All the while, this person more than likely is not critically thinking about, first of all, the relationship with the narcissist is dysfunctional. Secondly, why would you want to restore such a toxic and volatile relationship? Okay, and all the while, again, it's dysfunctional. When a person is in their feelings, when they're in their egos, they're not thinking about this. Okay, now I'm not scolding, I'm just pointing something out, how easily it is for us to overlook what's right in front of us, especially when the discard and devaluation is happening. Okay, so why isn't he or she hoovering? Okay, we're thinking about, well, what's happened? Why haven't they suddenly disappeared? The narcissist is hoping to throw you in such confusion. They're hoping you start focusing in on things that really don't matter. And that is, why aren't they hoovering? Does it matter? Especially when the relationship is dysfunctional. Who cares what happened as far as like the narcissist goes? The thing that you want to look at about what happened is, why did you end up in the dysfunctional relationship in the first place? But see, the narcissist knows more than likely you're not going to go there. When you ask that question, or when I ask that question, or anyone who may have been romantically involved with the narcissist or cluster personality, when we ask that question, what happened? We're not asking about how we ended up in the dysfunctional relationship in the first place. We want to restore it, right? So what happened? Why did the dysfunctional relationship fall apart? Well, the key word is dysfunctional. It wasn't functioning naturally in the first place. So when we ask that question, what happened? We want to know, how can we restore a dysfunctional, toxic, and volatile relationship? I just wanted to really break this down because I've actually made this mistake myself, like many of us have. When the relationship seemingly is over, right? It appears to be over. But what the narcissist has done, what the cluster B personality has done, is place the romance on the back burner. They want to come back to it. Narcissists and cluster B personalities, they don't end relationships in a responsible manner. They don't do it in a respectable manner. They just go from one person to the next. So a person may become obsessed, okay? Or their obsession may increase with the narcissist, since now they have new supply. So the narcissist loves to influence people to go absolutely bonkers, figuratively speaking, okay, when it comes to them just putting it in the face of everyone that they have new supply, especially if the new supply seems to be a downgrade. All right, and the thing that a lot of us miss is that even though it appears to be a downgrade, the narcissist is still being supplied, and that is what's most important to the narcissist and of course the personality. So the privilege, so the perk for him or her is that you're also displaying signs of not only being obsessed, but you are trying to figure out how to restore a dysfunctional relationship with him or her. That's the perk for the narcissist. That's just the icing on the cake or the cherry on top, figuratively speaking, for him or her. Which is exactly why, or one of the main reasons why, the narcissist and cluster B personality is not hoovering. Why should they? Why would they have to? They really don't have to. They're getting the supply. See, the narcissist and cluster B personality, they're getting the supply because you are displaying. See, you're displaying your confusion about what happened, right? You're displaying it. They don't have to hoover you. They don't have to suck you back in. They've got you, and they know it. Next slide. Stay focused. Codependent relationships are addictive, even if the other people involved are not cluster personality types, such as those who have a histrionic personality, or a narcissistic personality, or antisocial personality, or a borderline personality. They're highly addictive nonetheless. Take some steps to try not to second guess yourself as much. When a person is in a relationship that is highly addictive, okay, with cluster personality type, they often second guess themselves because their self-esteem and their confidence takes a hit. All right, this happened to me. So I understand how a person's confidence level and their self-esteem can suffer, and then they start second guessing themselves. So by staying focused, you can thrive forward past narcissistic abuse rather than becoming stagnant and staying in the sunken place for a long period of time, which is actually where the narcissist wants you anyway. The narcissist would like nothing more than for you to remain in the sunken place. If they should try to hoover you back in, that's where they're going to look first, in the sunken place, figuratively speaking. All right? They want to find you still down in the dumps. The narcissist and cluster personality, they often want to find you in the same shape they left you in. Sign number one, you're no longer seeking them out to help you gain closure. So sign number two that you're done with the narcissist is that you're no longer interested in reinvesting in a toxic relationship. So sign number three that you're done, you're done with the narcissist is that you no longer make yourself emotionally available to them. Busting down your personal boundary will be the foundation to the codependent narcissistic relationship. So once they bust down your boundary, this often becomes a main theme to the codependent narcissistic relationship. So what is the theme of the relationship? What are some other themes to the relationship? Deception, Okay, now when I'm talking about the theme of the relationship, that means what's actually going on in the relationship to make it dysfunctional. So you have deception. You have all types of shenanigans that he or she pulls. They're engaged in diabolical tactics. Okay, they do the smear campaigning. They recruit flying monkeys. All of these things keep you off your square. So once they find out they can break down your boundaries, this is very often the foundation to a codependent narcissistic relationship, because now they know they can do other things to make sure your boundaries stay down. Once he or she finds out you don't have any boundaries or you don't really practice boundaries, well, they're not going to respect that you may want to start to practice boundaries. This is often why when you switch up the gamesmanship with him or her, yeah, they're not very happy. So narcissists and cluster B personality types, they don't like change anyway. So when you switch up the gamesmanship and you start wanting to practice personal boundaries, they're going to look at you like you have three heads. Very often, we're caught between a rock and a hard place, especially when we want to start to become healthier. Okay, we want to start demonstrating our growth. Some of us are outgrowing narcissistic codependent relationships, but it's hard for us to vocalize that. It's hard sometimes to express that. Actually consciously. I know I had this problem a few years ago, but when I started to make more decisions for myself, right, that was reflective of my outgrowing narcissistic codependent relationships. Because when you want to stop doing what the narcissist wants or whatever pleases them, they're not going to like it. Okay, they're going to push back. So this is why that critical question is very profound. Would you rather commit to your thriving forward, or would you rather commit to continuing the narcissistic codependent relationship? Because you're not going to be able to have both. So it's really going to boil down to that. Okay, so narcissists, they function from a place of fear, right? Because codependent relationships encourages fear. When narcissists and cluster B personality types begin to show that they don't like this change in you, right? You're growing, you're thriving forward. You may be going to groups, you may be brushing up on information or education about narcissists or cluster B personality types, even codependent relationships, because you're dealing with all of this. So when they start to see you're growing, they're going to push back. They're not going to like it, because this means they're losing control. They function from a place of fear. So when they start to lose control, or they feel they're losing control, that equates to them losing supply, because they're one and the same to the narcissist and to the cluster B personality type. Okay, so try to keep this in mind when you want to start taking care of yourself. I don't mean keep this in mind to stop taking care of yourself. I mean to keep this in mind so you can thrive forward. This will encourage you to stay focused. know that there's a narcissistic Hoover before there's an actual Hoover? Usually there's a smear campaigning that takes place, but it is after an imaginary contract has taken place. Now, you usually don't know anything about the imaginary contract because it is only in the mind of the narcissist or the cluster personality type. So in a romantic situation, most of the time we are not even aware that a contract has been made. And of course, the narcissist expects us to fulfill that contract. And when it's not fulfilled, this is usually when the love bombing stops and the smear campaigning begins. Now, here's another thing that usually goes undetected, and that is the narcissist already has new supply before they discard of the current supply. Be sure to check out my video, Narcissists Had New Supply Before They Discarded You. So I don't have to tell you how unfair it is when the narcissist formulates that imaginary contract or what they expect you to bargain, right? During the relationship. But it is unfair because it's in the mind of the narcissist. He or she expects you to fulfill that contract. Now, what is the stipulation of the contract, or what are the terms of the contract? All right, so the terms of the contract. Number one, always be loyal no matter what. Don't question, don't challenge, don't protest. Pretty much you have to be a robot, okay? If you're not a robot, you have to be invisible. You have to be that person who doesn't have a voice, you don't have an identity, and you don't have a life. All right, term number two of the contract, be perfect. And third term of the imaginary contract is to never become unhooverable. There's an opportunity that is often missed when the narcissist begins to hoover. One of the things that usually takes us by surprise is when the narcissist begins to obtain new supply, but instead of upgrading, they downgrade. Now, this is usually a mind screw or messes with the mind, okay? Because oftentimes when the narcissist begins to scout for new supply, it is not before they discard the current supply. This is, they have an art to it.